With the upcoming Xbox and Bethesda showcase on June 12th, a lot of speculation about which games might be shown are out there, and to speculate properly sometimes it helps to just look at some facts on how long the respective games in the different Xbox studios are actually in development. So in today's video we go through all the announced first-party Xbox games and have a look on how long they have actually been in development. Hello gamers from around the world, this is Boxenberger, the video game enthusiast from Germany, with a video that might help you in the discussions and speculations out there on which games might be shown at the Xbox showcase and when certain Xbox games might be released, because today we discuss all announced Xbox first-party games and how long they have been in development. But before we discuss everything, you should treat yourself and set your player to full 4K 60 FPS to get the best audiovisual experience I can deliver to you, and while you're at it, it would be awesome of you to consider to hit the like and subscribe button and maybe even turn on the notification bell to not miss out on future content. Okay, thank you guys, you are awesome, and now let's have a look on the development time of the Xbox first party games. One thing up front, when I talk about development time in this video, I really mean the start of the respective projects. That includes of course the early phase where developers usually try out different concepts, gameplay mechanics, etc. And it includes of course engine development as well. Some of these things work in parallel, other things have to be done subsequently, but just to be clear, when I talk about development time, I mean the start of the project. Now let's start with one of the most anticipated Xbox first-party games, and that is the reboot of Fable. It's developed by Playground Games, and the developer itself has been openly discussing it that they are working on a AAA open-world action RPG since 2017. And actually the first rumors out there for a reboot of this game was as early as January 2017, where we heard the rumor that the IP has been handed over to a British developer. So in the middle of 2022, that makes a development time of around about 5.5 years for the Fable reboot. Yeah, it's really been that long. Another highly anticipated RPG is Avowed from Obsidian Entertainment. They have been acquired by Microsoft in the year 2018, and Avowed was apparently the reason why Team Xbox decided to buy them. That means that at the point of the acquisition they had to have at least something to pitch to Microsoft that caught their interest, and with that Avowed is at least 4 or 4.5 years in development, if not longer. And by the way, that's one of the longest projects from Obsidian Entertainment, and of course one of the most ambitious ones, and it just shows you that Microsoft is giving the developers the time and resources to develop their visions. The second game that has been announced from Obsidian is Outer Worlds 2, and that has been announced in 2021, and the entire announcement trailer was a homage on how early that game is in development. So in the middle of 2022 we can assume that Outer Worlds 2 has been something like a year or 1.5 years in development, and with that it's in a very early stage. Another game that many Xbox fans look forward to is Hellblade II, which has been announced in December 2019. The first game came out in August 2017, and Ninja Theory has talked about that they took a little break after the release of the first game before they decided to go out to Iceland and start to work on a sequel. That means that the early phase of Hellblade 2 started end of 2017 or at the very beginning of 2018, and that makes round about 4 or 4.5 years of dev time so far. And last summer during the E3 event they said that they are currently working out a vertical slice and then build out the rest of the game. And then let's talk about Perfect Dark. The studio, the initiative, was founded in June 2018, so Perfect Dark has been in development for round about 4 years now. By the way, in September 2020, Drew Murray, who was a lead designer at the time, tweeted out that his daughter already played the game, and in September 2021 they announced that they partnered up with Crystal Dynamics to help them build out the rest of the game. One game that is heavily rumored to come out this year is the next Forza Motorsport. They have shown a first in-engine teaser trailer in 2020, and they have been working on that game since 2017. That includes the build of a complete new engine, and so far Turn 10 has been working for 5 years on that game, which is 3 years longer than every previous Forza Motorsport game. So yeah, I'd be surprised if we didn't see that game this fall. Another interesting one is the next Compulsion game, codenamed Project Midnight, which is rumored to be a third-person action game with a dark fantasy aesthetic. The last game, We Happy Few, came out in July 2016, and in 2018 they got acquired by Microsoft, where they have already been working on that game and its ideas for it. This makes this game one of the longest in development, with round about 6 years of dev time so far. let's talk about Contraband. During E3 2021, the makers of the Just Cause series have officially announced that they partnered with Team Xbox for this game. In 2021, they said that they partnered more than 3 years ago with Xbox to bring this co-op action adventure to life. So this game is really not that early in development. In 2022, it's at least 4 years in the making. Let's move on to Sanamax Online. We know for a while that they are working on a new game that is very much likely going to be an online MMO. In fact, thanks to the LinkedIn profile from one of the directors of the studio, we know that he has been working on a new AAA IP since February 2018, and that means that this game is 4+ years in development, which I wouldn't say is early in development. Another big Bethesda IP is gonna be Elder Scrolls 6. Now lately I've been seeing some rumors that this game is in development since 2019, which is simply not true because they have announced it in 2018 during E3. At that point in time, they described the development of Elder Scrolls 6 as very early on, but we know that they have been actively working over the last years on this game, at least in pre-production, and everyone is expecting that game to go into full production after the Starfield release in November this year. And speaking of which, Starfield is coming on November 11th this year, and this game went into full production right after the release of Fallout 4 in 2015, but it's really hard to pinpoint down the exact development time because Todd Howard and his team talked a lot about how they have been playing with the idea of Starfield for years, if not decades, but active development is around 6 to 7 years for this game. State of Decay 3 is also a game that has been mentioned a lot lately by some Xbox executives like Phil Spencer. The last game was released in May 2018, and earlier this year the reports have been that the initial phase of the development of this game was troubled, but now they are on full track and they have also founded a new dedicated animation studio to elevate the production quality of the new game to new heights, so this game has been in development for around about 4 years. Alright, let's talk about the next Double Fine game. They have been acquired in 2019 by Microsoft, and last year they released The Amazing Psychonauts 2, but they have also been working on multiple other projects, and I quote here from a statement in 2021. The studio is already splitting up into various teams and starting different projects that we think you'll enjoy. We like experimentation here at Double Fine. Every game is a chance to explore new ideas, new visual styles or gameplay emotions and more. So honestly, we really don't know how long the next Double Fine game has been in development so far. Another one where it's not 100% clear how long it's been in development is the next In Exile game. They have been acquired in 2018 and they released Wasteland 3 in August 2020, and so far we know that they are working on a first-person RPG in Unreal Engine 5 with the project name Cobalt. Since we know that they have multiple teams, we don't know whether development of Project Cobalt has begun prior to the release of Wasteland 3, but we can assume that it is at least 2 years in development so far. An interesting one is Everwild from Rare. Their last game, Sea of Thieves, came out in March 2018, and Everwild has been first shown in November 2019, and according to Rare in 2019 the game has been in development for a few years, whatever that means. In June 2021 we heard that the game is apparently in trouble and it got rebooted, but Matt Booty, head of Xbox Game Studios, had to say the following on that. And when you look at it from the outside and when you hear words like reset and maybe restructure, I'll just say that those are probably a little bit more definite and a little more extreme than what really happens as a game comes to life. So reboot or not, Everwild has been in development for at least 4 to 5 years now. Scheduled to release this year is the game Redfall from Arcane. It's really hard to pinpoint down how long this game has been in development, but rumors have it that it started as early as August 2017. That means that this year the game has been in development for about 5 years, and that is a realistic window for a release, and it has been scheduled for summer this year. The Coalition is obviously working on a new Gears game. The last entry was released in 2019 and usually they have a 3-year development cycle, but obviously Gears 6 is not coming out this year. We know that they are also working on a smaller project to get acquainted with the newly released Unreal Engine 5, but we also know that they have had access to Unreal 5 for more than a year now. That means that the side project is probably round about a good year in development, and of course Gears 6 round about 3 years so far. Indiana Jones from Machine Games was announced in January 21, and it is heavily rumored that that was the time frame where the full production of the game started. Now if that's the case, Indiana Jones is round about 1 to 1.5 years in development, and that brings up the question what Machine Games has been working on since their last game, Wolfenstein 2 from October 2017. And of course many, including myself, are thinking of a Wolfenstein 3 to finish up the trilogy, and that game would then be in development for around about 5 years. Or Indiana Jones has started earlier than we think, and it has been in development longer than expected. I bet we will find out at the Xbox and Bethesda showcase this year. And the last game I want to mention here is another popular shooter, and that's of course Doom, and the developer id is apparently working also on a new Quake game. And since Doom Eternal was released in March 2020, the next Doom or Quake game, whatever they are working on, is in development for around about 2 years now. But with that I want to wrap it up. As you can see, many of the 20 announced or known Xbox first-party games have been in development for quite a while. But of course there are even more unannounced projects in the making. Usually you can estimate a development time for a AAA game of around about 3 to 5 years, but of course you also have to factor in the pandemic now, and while development didn't stop completely, it definitely slowed things down, and so you can add probably to the most of these games 1 extra year of dev time. Nevertheless, many of the Xbox first-party games are quite far along in development with dev times of 4+ years, and that means that especially in 2023 and 2024 we can expect many of those games to be released. And I hope that this video helped you to guesstimate for yourself which of these games might be shown at the big showcase in June. The good thing is that Xbox is giving the developers the time they need to develop the games they envisioned. And yes, the first 8 to 9 months of 2022 were a little dry with Xbox first-party releases, but it is obvious that the pipeline for Xbox games is almost bursting with AAA game releases, and starting this fall we should enter that cycle where Xbox will release a AAA game on a regular basis. But for now, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did so, please do not forget to hit the like and subscribe button as well as the notification bell. I truly appreciate your support. And let me also say a special thanks to everyone who supports this channel with a super chat, a super thanks. It's the new way to support from YouTube in the comment section, and of course the channel members that get early access to all my videos. It really means a lot. And now let me know in the comments down below, which of the Xbox games are you looking forward to the most? What do you think of the development times of these first-party games? And besides here on YouTube, you can also hit me up on Twitter, where I share a lot of opinions and gaming discussions. But for now, thank you very much for watching. I see you the next time, and game on!